Good evening all, hope you're doing well. We're in a state of fear as you can see, and what's actually happened is that we're seeing a large shift on the 24-hour change. At that rate, if we change at that rate every day, it's going to take, it's going to take about 6, 7 days for us to flip to net positive. If we go net positive, then the herd are going to be net long, and then we're going to have a huge fall, or we have a big decline. DAX is already starting, and what I think could happen is that the S&P has had a crossover as we went into the weekly close, but it could have legs. So normally 99% of the time the herd, they sell into the weekend, but they actually went long. They bought risk into the weekly close. That in itself is a bit of an omen. So before I talk about the indices, do note that the weekly shifting hasn't been reset. I'll do it after the video, so you can just see the change in. So they've gone long, EU and GU, so we should be falling on those, and they've shorted gold, AJ and CJ. So that's hopefully quite clear. And the shifting as well is worth noting. There's the big shifting on DAX, big shifting on EG, EU, France, GU. Also oil as well, but we'll talk about the indices because they're the most important, and we're going to see a massive week. We've got options expiry as well this week, so it's going to be pretty huge. And I'll show you DAX first. Well, actually, we'll go to S&P. So this is the crossover. Normally, going into Friday, they'll sell, okay, because they're bearish. But now they've gone long into the weekly close. So the 2 hours, 3 hours preceding the close, they've actually bought. So that in itself, a little bit of a warning sign. However, this doesn't look particularly bearish. So I think this is going to hold the markets, the S&P 500, because it's the strongest index. And it isn't particularly bearish looking at the technicals. You can see we're clearly ascending higher. Now let me show you US 30. And then we'll talk about DAX. And it'll be a short video today because it doesn't need to be particularly long, and we can do a video tomorrow night. And also we've got an England match tonight, which I must watch. So the US 30, technically, we can see we made lower highs and lower lows. But however, the S&P 500 isn't doing that, but the Dow Jones is. So we could argue it's starting to potentially trend a little bit lower. But you zoom out a long way and you can see we're obviously really mega strong. So you want to be really careful about shorting. However, on the 1 hour on the time frame, it's looking, we've made these lower highs and lower lows. But then let's look at DAX. And you can see this is actually looking quite heavy. And we made a punishment box. So we can draw that punishment box now. And I normally do these on paint, but we can certainly do it on the terminal because I update in Discord. Where are we? Here. Right, so this is the candle. This is the punishment box. And it's mega strong as a resistance. They'd gone long at that point, and they've got absolutely royally crushed on that move. And at this rate, if they continue to do this, we'll flip it to positive territory, then this is going to really fall. Okay? And come to the back to the fact we are fear. So that's what the current state is. It's just a fact, just that we've got lots of red on our risk calc, and the big change on the 24-hour is signaling that we're going to probably be risk off sooner than anticipated. I was expecting maybe November, but at this rate, it's probably going to be before the US elections. So it's going to be a very interesting week. Okay, so we don't really talk about the bot. The bot had a fantastic week, so really happy with that. It's basically we wanted directional moves on the Euro USD all week up to CPI FOMC. We were zigzagging and chopping, and we were compressing and then chopping, and it's just really not ideal circumstances for the bot. So we would make a bit of profit, and then we'd lose a little bit of profit, then we'd make a bit, and it's basically one step forward, one step back and forth, and it got quite frustrating. And now we're seeing directional moves, as we can see. They've gone long on these two, so we should be falling, and we have. And because of the fact that we had a nice direction with follow through, the bar has made some good profits. And that's what we want. We don't want chop, we want directional moves. We want a clear move to the upside or the downside. And we don't want to see those nasty intraday reversals either, which is something that we had seen, but we hadn't seen it Thursday, Friday. And I was saying in Discord how surprising it was, because normally we get those rug pull reversals and it's just nasty, but we didn't get it for the Euro USD. Well, we only interested in the Euro USD, but we didn't also get it on the Pound USD as well. We saw some nice follow through and it was fantastic. So hopefully we'll see some more continuation. And it's very likely that we will, because we're potentially going to have a very, very bumpy week ahead of us. So there's the OPEX, and there's that punishment box and DAX, and US 30. So they're the lower lows. However, we are sideways. But the thing that's going to keep things afloat is the S&P. We're not particularly bearish on that. We could argue we made some lower lows, but we're still structurally strong. You can see the difference between that and the DAX, for example. Right, and this is moving because of the politics. And the German-French yield spread is widening. So it's telling us there's an issue, a euro breakup risk, potentially in speech marks in the Eurozone with France, because the France yield is deviating away from the German safe haven. So it's telling us that there's a risky macro that's going to be going on in France, and it could be, we could have like a Frexit scenario where France are going to leave the euro. If so, it's going to be absolutely massive, and no large bank is going to be interested in euro positioning. So when Christian's back from his holiday, we'll have a look at the COT data, and it wouldn't make any sense that any large bank is going to be wanting to go long euro if we're going to have a Frexit. If France leaves, it's going to be absolutely massive, and it's going to be detrimental for Euro USD sentiment, but that's big fish sentiment, okay, not retail sentiment. So we've got a huge week, and we've got a very political, like a hot pot, could be like fireworks, and we could have a huge risk-off event from the Frexit, like we had in Brexit, but it could maybe be worse, because the UK never ever joined the euro. However, France are at the core of the euro, geographically and financially. So it could be massive. So trade safely, keep an eye on your politics, have a look at your Discord. We'll put in lots of macro, and Marco's doing this awesome stuff for us in the bank forecasts. So if you get some time, have a look at that document, and you can get what how the banks are thinking about the current situation and how they're positioned as well. And it's awesome that Marco does that for us. It is so cool. So that's today's video, and I'll be back tomorrow night for the Bulletin video. And I wish England all the success in the tournament, and I'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed we get to like the final, and that would be amazing, but we'll probably semi-final or quarter-final, and that would be typical. All right, so I'll speak to you guys soon, and enjoy your Sunday and enjoy your Monday, and I'll be back tomorrow night.